Are following breaking news at 6. This is a live look from Chopper 9 at the scene of a building collapse in Bond Hill. This is on Para Drive near I-75 in the Norwood Lateral.
Firefighters there say there was some sort of small fire inside the vehicle service facility. It's still unclear, though, what caused that fire or what ultimately led to the building collapsing. Firefighters say no one was inside at the time and there were no injuries to report here, which is obviously good news. Crews are working, though, with the building inspector right now to determine the structural stability of that building so they can further investigate. We will continue to bring you updates as we get them throughout this newscast. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for sticking with us or joining us. I'm Craig McKee.
And I'm Kristen Hartman. Tanya O'Rourke has the evening off. A promising new study is getting underway at the University of Cincinnati.
It's using gene editing to make the body unreceptive to the HIV virus. In fact, 9 on Your Side's Lisa Smith joins us right now live in the newsroom to explain how all of this works and if the groundbreaking study could possibly find a cure for HIV.
Well, Craig, this is the beginning of a small pilot study that could have a significant impact if successful. Locally, about 10 patients will participate in the research that can only be called trailblazing. John Causey considers himself one of the lucky ones. He's been living with HIV for 28 years.
Back then, a lot of times when you found out you were HIV positive, your life expectancy was a few months. A year would be just pushing it.
Today, with medication, he says the virus is undetectable.
That's because someone else was in the research and they did that and went through all the studies and the trials and tribulations of all that to get to where I can take one pill a day and look at me, I look great.
Now he's looking to do his part. He'll participate in a study at UC that potentially could lead to a cure for HIV.
It will take a while for us to learn this. This is the very first step, which is why we call the study the Trailblazer Study.
Dr. Carl Fichtenbaum at UC is working with researchers at Case Western Reserve and the University of California, San Francisco on a pilot study.
HIV has the key, and what we do is eliminate the lock, and now HIV cannot get into that cell.
It's done through a process called gene editing. The CCR5 gene receptor is what allows people to get HIV. Researchers will use a technology called zinc finger nucleases to literally cut it out of a small number of white blood cells in study participants.
We'll send them to Case Western, where they're the ones who are actually taking them and changing the cells in the laboratory, and then we'll ship them back to us to infuse back into the same person.
Once injected back into the body, the edited cells should naturally regenerate.
It may be that we don't have to replace all of them to get rid of HIV infection. We may just have to replace enough of them.
Causey will be one of 30 participants in the study. He considers HIV a war that he's willing to keep fighting.
Down the line, it's going to help somebody else, even if they don't remember me. It's like, well, I did my part in the fight against HIV.
Lisa Smith, 9 on Your Side.
The National Institutes of Health awarded an $11 million grant for the study, which Case Western Reserve is leading. This initial study will last for 5 years, and UC is still recruiting participants.
Ohio Governor Mike DeWine takes another step toward reforming the state's gun laws. Right now, there is no law in Ohio requiring, that is, courts to enter warrants for violent crimes or protective orders into the background check system. The governor, though, wants the General Assembly to fix that issue and mandate courts enter that information into the background check systems within 48 hours of it being issued. Mark Droke, manager of the Center of Mass Defense Gun Shop in Ross Township, says he likes the idea, but it may not solve the entire problem of guns getting into the wrong hands.
I think they're going about it the right way. The mental aspect of it is the biggest part of it.
Governor DeWine also says the state would provide funding for courts to enter this data. Whether Ohio lawmakers, though, will take action on the governor's plans remains to be seen.
A Miami University fraternity today was punished with a 15-year suspension for hazing. You will recall back in March, a Delta Tau Delta pledge filed a report saying he was forced to drink alcohol and use marijuana and was beaten with a spiked paddle and kicked during a hazing ritual. In June, Delta Tau Delta's headquarters revoked the charter for the Miami University chapter. The chapter lost its appeal, leading to this suspension, which officials say is one of the longest in the school's history. The university says the frat has the option to petition to return to campus after 10 years.
Taxes are going up for people living in Beechwood Independent School Districts in Fort Mitchell. The district says it needs the extra cash to replace 2 school buildings that it says are too old to renovate. 9 on your side's Josh Bazan is live outside the school right now with more on what's wrong right now and what could be coming soon. Josh?
Craig, the district wants to replace this school building behind me here and another building behind that. It says the aging wooden infrastructure inside the buildings makes it difficult and expensive to simply renovate.
I guess the reason we chose Beechwood is just because it has a reputation for educational excellence, and it's a public school. Taylor
Duncan moved to Fort Mitchell this year so his daughter Gray could one day go to Beechwood schools. He agrees something needs to be done to update the old elementary buildings.
I think that anything that goes towards improving the school will actually in turn improve Fort Mitchell because it will continue to ensure that people keep moving in to the city.
The Beechwood School Board voted in May to add a facilities tax on homes in the district. The new tax revenue can only be used to replace or improve school buildings. The district says the average home value in Fort Mitchell is $274,000, meaning yearly taxes on a typical home would go up $274.
It's never fun whenever somebody says that they're going to increase taxes, but at least in this case, I think it's something that I could really get behind.
Yeah, that came as a bit of a shock.
Amber Mitchell's son, Elijah, goes to class in this elementary school built in 1927. She says it's important to have a safe place for kids to go to school. The district says the old buildings have foundation issues, aging pipes, and an outdated wooden infrastructure.
The building is extremely old. I mean, we're not talking, just like 20 years. I mean, it's getting pretty up there in age. He's upset about it too, so he wants it to be upgraded.
I spoke with the superintendent. He tells me this is all in the very early stages. The first step is getting that revenue through taxes. The district is now applying for the Commonwealth to match those funds. That would kick off a formal process to finalize any plans. If this all goes quickly, the superintendent says we could see work start as early as next summer break or next winter break. Reporting live at Beechwood Independent Schools, Josh Bazan, 9 on your side.
Josh, thank you. Straight ahead, stepping up.
A story of selflessness and generosity. How the community is rallying around a couple who sold all their belongings to find a better life for their grandson.
And it is a growing opportunity. A new report puts a number on Cincinnati's future job growth. Coming up, the challenges highlighted by that same report.
We continue to track our growing region and some of the issues it faces in our Move Up Cincinnati coverage. And now we're getting an idea of just what kind of growth to expect in the future. The Cincinnati USA Regional Chamber released a new report today projecting more than 67,000 new jobs will come to the area by 2028. It is based on research compiled by the UC Economics Center. The industries predicted to see the greatest growth include food service, transportation, and healthcare. The chamber says the challenge is to make sure those jobs pay a living wage and to address racial and gender disparities in higher earning jobs.
Northern Kentucky's Sanitation District Number 1 has approved changes now to its backup assistance program. The changes are all aimed at making it easier for Covington residents who have had sewage backup into their homes to get financial assistance they really need. The district determined there were several factors keeping people from taking advantage of the help. One big factor was money. Now customers no longer have to pay a plumber to install a backflow valve and then being reimbursed by the district. Steve.
Okay, Craig, I've got the latest update on Hurricane Dorian as it starts moving toward Florida and out of the Virgin Islands. Also, of course, your Labor Day weekend forecast is.
And still next on 9 on your side, a show of support. The response from the community after we introduced you to a boy and his grandparents who gave up a lot to get him out of a violent environment. That's next on 9 on your side at 6.
You're watching 9 on your side at 6.
Just don't know how you saved my life today.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, sweetie.
You're so welcome.
New tonight, a heartwarming update about a family we first told you about last week.
Two grandparents who sold everything and left a violent Chicago neighborhood, all to give their grandson a better life. 9 on your sides, Lucy May explains how a young tri-state couple decided to help.
Michelle Brown could hardly believe her eyes.
Are you my good Samaritan? Oh my God.
When 20-year-old Kylie Goodpaster pulled into the parking lot of an Aurora homeless shelter to give her this 2006 Chrysler minivan.
We went ahead and replaced the headlight assembly. We did a total oil change in it. It may need some air in the tires.
The gift came one day after WCPO's story about Michelle and her husband Stephen Davis and what they sacrificed for their grandson Tank. Kylie says her husband read the story and wanted to help.
I had my daughter when I was 16, and my in-laws and all the grandparents involved, they were just extremely helpful. They helped us in ways I'll never be able to repay them.
She says helping the family feels like a way to pay it forward. Tank was clearly impressed.
This was the best car ever.
The van is worth far more than that to Michelle and her husband. It gives Michelle a way to take Tank to the doctor and gives her husband transportation so he can get a better paying job.
I don't want to start crying, but this is amazing. It really is. That people, it's still people in the world that care about other people and their situation. It just, I don't know what else to say except for thank you.
Sometimes that's enough.
There you go, it's officially yours.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I gotta get a hug one more time.
Lucy May, 9 on your side.
Tank and his grandparents still have challenges ahead, and many of you have asked how you can help. Contributions to the couple's donation account can be made at any local U.S. bank branch. And check out Lucy's digital story on WCPO.com, where she has more information and a link to the family's online GoFundMe campaign.
All right, we are keeping a close eye on the Hurricane Dorian. The storm is hitting the U.S. Virgin Islands and skirting by Puerto Rico, where the governor has already declared a state of emergency there. And Florida's governor is warning people in the storm's track to prepare now. The hurricane is gaining power as it takes aim at the U.S. coast.
Gaining power, that's not what people want to hear.
No, the bad news is it looks like it's going to be a major hurricane right in time for it to potentially hit Florida on the eastern side. So let's do a little update for you and show you what's going on. And as you'll see, while that is true that the hurricane is skirting Puerto Rico, they're still feeling a lot of the effects. It is pulling away, and that's the good news. There's San Juan and Puerto Rico and the island, and there's Charlotte Amalie from St. Thomas. So the center is now out open. The center of it is out in open ocean. So there's still a lot of rain associated with the band that's moving through the area, and you'll see it there across the radar picture. So there's still a real risk of flooding here as this continues to push to the northwest. Winds are at 80 miles an hour right now, and you'll notice it's going to start taking a little bit of a dogleg, let's call it, left. This storm is going to be at a real important point here later on Friday and Saturday. That's where it'll jump into the major category of a 3, and we're going to see winds start to peak over 100 miles an hour, 115, right in time to potentially hit somewhere along what looks like the Georgia coastline down through Florida. You know, keep in mind, we call this the cone of uncertainty. Don't focus on that one line. This could be just about anywhere, especially as it gets out that far in the track. Obviously, it's going to be a big thing for us. And one other note with this, some of the models are pushing it into next week. The leftover moisture coming up here by about a week from Friday. In the meantime, we're talking about some sunshine and clear skies around the tri-state. It's going to be another great day for you Thursday. It's just really a copy of what we had today. Sunny skies and upper 70s to low 80s and low humidity. Now, as we head to Friday and into the weekend, we start seeing a couple of weather systems that could very well give us just a hint of a shower here or there. So I've got to put in a slight chance from Friday right through Monday, and frankly, Craig pointed it out in the 7 days. You'll see it's almost like a San Diego forecast where we're seeing exactly almost the same weather day to day. And here's why. First thing on Friday, we see this front settling in, and it could give us a chance of a shower in the afternoon. Then as we head into the weekend, this low starts tracking in out of the southwest, first with some warmer air that could give us a shower on Saturday afternoon. Then the front itself here for Sunday and Monday. So as we really break things out in my 9 to 9 forecast. And Riverfest Day, I made a little change up there because things start at 12. You'll get the sense of what I'm talking about. The temperatures aren't going to be changing very much across that whole time period. The good news here is you look at that Riverfest Day on Sunday. For most of the day, we should be fine. And it looks like if there would be any rain, it would be just ahead of the fireworks. So all in all, I think we're looking pretty good as we head into Labor Day weekend. Right now, a lot of sunshine, as you well know, and pleasant conditions around the tri-state at the moment. Most temperatures are in the upper 70s. It's 78 in Cincinnati, and you'll see how I'm dropping off the temperatures, and certainly looks good up at